What's up, y'all? Kevin Ray Lavello here. Welcome. I Ask No One, episode number 12. 12. Well, off the bat, as always, cheers. This one's going out to Zach and Gabby. Zach Schifferle and Gabby Kerman are marrying. They've been dating for about 10 years. They're marrying on Sunday. They're going to be streaming it live. We'll be tuning in. Me and Ash. Love you guys. Cheers. Congratulations. This has been colder. Been without no power here for the past 15 hours. Had to spend the night at my parents' last night in the AC. I could already smell the refrigerator going bad, but we're going to get through it. Limp Bizkit's in the house, y'all. I'm wearing no clothes for this. I only have a hat on. So normal Limp Bizkit fashion, it's going to be a good one. But don't worry, we're just going to go chest up here. Feels a lot better, too. So Tony, Luke, others, thanks for joining. And also congratulations to Static X. Static motherfucking X, man. That's the guitar back there that they signed for me in London, Ontario. Their late great frontman Wayne Static passed away a few years back, and they recovered a bunch of vocals from Wayne, and they recorded a record with the existing vocals, and they just played it out. So I've yet to get mine in the mail. I've yet to check it out, but I can't wait to just rock that one out. It's really, I'm giddy about it. But we had someone pass this past week. Ennio Morricone, an Italian composer who did a lot of the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and spaghetti westerns, and the Ecstasy of Gold, his song that appeared in the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, that has opened up every Metallica show since 1983, and it was of a recommendation by their manager, Peter Mensch. You know, they were all fans of Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the quote of the day is from Ennio Morricone. He passed away at 91. I like to feel and understand people's contentment with what I've done. And that's what he said once. So just to help you understand where I'm coming from when I hear Ennio Morricone, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, 1966, released in the US in 67, is one of my all-time favorite movies. My favorite being The Matrix, but Good, the Bad, the Ugly, absolutely top 5. The Ecstasy of Gold, that happened when Tuco was running through the cemetery at the end trying to find the treasure. Just the goosebumps that come through me. James Hetfield is a very private guy, and he came out of his own kind of privacy and quarantine, and he let the Metallica family know that Ennio Morricone is always a member of the Metallica family. He's warmed up to the Ecstasy of Gold, you know, and just R.I.P. Ennio Morricone. What a work to leave behind. So, fact of the day. Do you know the band The Animals? You know the song House of the Rising Sun? Well, on this day, July 11th, 1964, that topped the UK charts. And also, did you know that House of the Rising Sun, that was recorded in one take? First take, there you go, that's what you hear. And it's a cover of a band song. I forget which band originally wrote that song, but the Animals really commercialized it with their 1960s kind of oomph, and I love it. And it appeared in a gangster movie. I think it was Goodfellas. And to this day, when I hear it, I think of Joe Pesci dying in one of those movies. Cool fun fact. So in 2000, we're talking 20 years ago today, July the 11th, Lars took Napster to the U.S. Senate to court, and he was filing a lawsuit against I don't know how many thousands or millions of his fans for stealing their music. And it was never about money. It was never about money. It was always about control. And I tell you, to this day, Lars still gets questions about the Napster fiasco. And for my younger audience, Napster was a music file sharing platform where you could actually get music for free. I mean, I remember getting Genie in a Bottle of Christina Aguilera and It's My Life by Bon Jovi and I Disappeared by Metallica before it came out that summer. And yeah, Lars took him to court, and he was right the whole entire time because, as I mentioned in episode 1, this downloading for free has killed the music industry. So granted, we get to see our bands a lot more on tour, but as far as them making royalties off of CDs, no one really buys CDs anymore, except for me, except for you, right? Hopefully. And yeah, if you found Luke, you found Rancid through Napster. I found Metallica and Christina Aguilera. So there you go. And another cool thing that happened July the 11th, 2013, Pearl Jam released their Lightning Bolt record. And this record means a lot to me. This deserves its own episode. And there you go. Pearl Jam Lightning Bolt. They just released their latest record, but it took them 7 years. It was 7 years ago that this was released. I saw them on tour in San Diego. One of my all-time favorite posters right there, right behind Drum Kit. So Pearl Jam Lightning Bolt. Pendulum off that record opened their song, opened their set in San Diego. I recommend that song. And Father Son, it's got this California thing going on. So we'll talk about that in a later time. And then last Today in Music, Peter Murphy. He turned 63. Peter Murphy is a British kind of goth punk new wave singer, and he's one of my all-time favorite vocalists. I've always been a fan of vocals. You know, I'm a big time fan of drums and the riff, but it's got to have the vocals. You know, that's why I struggle with Rush sometimes. And who else? I'm drawing a blank, but there's a few certain bands that you got to feel those vocals, right? And Peter Murphy, I recently discovered, Cut You Up was a big song in the 80s when he went solo. He had a heart attack actually a few years ago, but he's still around, and God bless him. 63 years old, he made it. What a badass that guy is. I discovered Peter Murphy by his collaboration. He played in some dorm room with Trent Reznor a few years back, covered a song called Reptile, which I think was off Downward Spiral or With Teeth. I'll include that link, but it's such a cool performance. Literally Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross and Peter Murphy kind of performing. So Peter Murphy, check him out. Really cool vocalist. The Sweetest Drop is probably my favorite song by them. But how many albums do you think you own as of now? Tony, good question. Albums? Record-wise, vinyl, I probably own, and it's all like colored and limited edition stuff. Probably own about 25 to 30 records. But as far as CDs go, I have a case of 500. I'm not going to get up for obvious reasons to go get it, but I have a case of 500, roughly 500 CDs, heavy metal, classic rock. And I think I stopped there. Then I have another 500 case, almost filled, of grunge alternative soundtracks, jazz, and kind of thing. So to answer your question, total amount of records I probably have CDs, I'm going to say 850. And they're all right here and here, especially here. So today's episode, holy shit. I mean, let me take a sip of water here. Warm water, because power's out. We're supposed to get it back a half hour ago, 3 hours ago, whatever. I'm talking about Limp Bizkit. Limp Bizkit's in the house, y'all, today. I had the jitters going into episode 1 of this podcast, this webcast, this YouTube channel, my project, my outlet, my escape. But this one's up there. Limp Bizkit is the almighty Limp Bizkit. I love him, and I'm going to give you the second quote of the day. And it came from Lars Ulrich. Lars, he said, "Life is a limp dick with an occasional blowjob." So with that, Limp Bizkit. In the late 90s, there were bands that were kind of following the Rage Against the Machine, rap, rock, metal, mixing it together. And in high school, I wasn't really into Korn, and even in middle school in Korn, it took TRL to introduce me to Korn and Limp Bizkit and Linkin Park. But more so than anything, I think The Undertaker. The Undertaker. Yeah, Rye. That's right. But The Undertaker, when he kind of revamped his image, he came out as the Dead Man, and he came out with Rollin' by Limp Bizkit. And here he came out on a motorcycle. This is the Undertaker, the WWE, WWF. And I was watching every Monday and Thursday for about 5 years, 6 years there between SummerSlam 98 and I think 03, 04 or something like that. But The Undertaker's coming out and Rollin' by Limp Bizkit's playing. You know, keep rolling, 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 rolling. And there's just some energy in that. And I really, like, what the hell is this? So I checked them out and ended up buying their Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water record. This is the exact linear note that I bought back in Media Play. I bought the edited version. So this is Ryan's explicit version that he bought. And I was just, when Ryan bought it, I mean, granted, I was 12 years old at the time in 2000. And shit, son. Yeah, there was one picture here that they're giving the middle finger. There it is. So Fred Durst here giving the middle finger. I remember looking at that picture, and I'm like, oh my God, he's giving the middle finger, you know, at age 12. In an edited version, he put a red star right above that and all the other, I don't know, maybe tits or something like that. So Limp Bizkit, Chocolate Starfish, Hot Dog Flavored Water, one of my all-time most listened to, most played records. And there is a reason why. When I lived in Los Angeles, make sure that stays right here. When I lived in Los Angeles, I had a flag that was exactly this. This hung in my kitchen in Los Angeles. And for obvious reasons, because that record just, it really got me through a lot out there, you know, with gossip and just doing your own thing. And it got me through some stuff there in LA and San Diego and before. But when I think of Chocolate Starfish, Hot Dog Flavored Water, you know, it's just the power, it's fun, et cetera, et cetera. But back on May the 7th of 2013, a little foreshadow for later, Limp Bizkit signed this. I saw them at the Town Ballroom. And a lot of people, when I mention Limp Bizkit, actually take pride in this, that they're like, oh, Limp Bizkit is still performing? And yes, they are. In fact, if you were to look them up on YouTube, I promise you, look up a European festival over the past decade or so. They get 50 to 60,000 people bouncing up and down like you have never seen before. They still kill it. Absolutely kill it. They haven't released a record since Gold Cobra, which was 2011. Anywho, oh cool, I got this part signed by John Otto. I forgot about that. Sweet. This is Gold Cobra. It's got some bangers on it, as the kids say, bangers. So this is the last record that they released, and they have a record coming up soon, hopefully. It's called Stampede of the Disco Elephants. And of course, I had just a little shout out to 1999! Significant Other. Opener just like this is one of my favorite. Of course, you got the Nookie, and you got Break Stuff. You know, break your fucking face tonight. Significant Other, right there. I see some comments coming in. I'm just going to take a look here. Okay. Yeah, 2 questions I'll just go over. I love the participation. This is really cool. So Limp Bizkit's record, Significant Other in '99, really took him into TRL stratosphere, Carson Daly. And I remember coming home from school before Mom and Dad would serve us dinner at the table. I would watch my 4:30 p.m. TRL. And when I found out about Limp Bizkit through The Undertaker, and I'm learning more about him, and Chocolate Starfish, Hot Dog Flavored Water was coming out, You're probably wondering, what is that album, Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water? What does that mean? Well, it is slang for, so a butthole kind of like looks like a starfish, right? For my butthole surfers out there. Chocolate Starfish and the Hot Dog Flavored Water. So chocolate Starfish, hot dog flavored water. If you're going to say hot dog flavored water, I would say maybe when a female's having a little fun between the sheets, you know, chocolate starfish and the hot dog flavored water. There's your answer, Rye. And Dad, Lars Ulrich, they actually settled, so he was just like hands off, whatever. Back when Napster was sued by Lars, this day in 2000, 20 years ago today, he was not prepared for the amount of onslaught that he got from fans, and how unprepared he was in courts to have this kind of thing done. He appeared on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire around that time. He got booed a little bit, I remember that. But he was like the poster boy for, oh yeah, we're Metallica, we want to, you know, keep all of our money and fuck everyone. But it was really about control. And if people are going to have access to music that hasn't even come out yet and they get it for free, he has something to say about that. And he was right the whole time. But they settled. He kind of walked away. And look at it now. You know, you got so many bands in quarantine, and they're earning like zero in royalties from CDs, and they got to get out there and tour. So he was right the whole time. You'll hear other musicians talk about that too. But I'm going to get into this concert. And yeah, Bob, I'll get into your question there. Behind Blue Eyes, real quick. The Who, Behind Blue Eyes. I Have Blue Eyes. James Hetfield, actually, when he was on the plane in the early days, going from gig to gig in their private plane, he would actually listen to the Who's Behind Blue Eyes. James Hetfield has Behind Blue Eyes. And Limp Bizkit, Fred Durst, he has Blue Eyes. They covered it on their 2003 Results May Vary, same CD I saw them on back in 03. So I like the song. I actually just recently bought it on iTunes. I had it off LimeWire for years, but I wanted to buy it because I buy my own music, right? Got to buy your own shit. But Behind Blue Eyes, it's a good song. I like it. I like their cover a lot too. It has no Wes Borland on it because Wes left during the Hot Dog tour. So there you go. I'm gonna get right onto the concert here. So boom, Limp Bizkit, fucking. They did an East Coast tour in 2013 in the spring. And they not only did an East Coast tour, they played a tour to small venues. The Town Ballroom fits about 1,500 people, tops. And here's a band that gets 50 to 60 to 70,000 plus overseas, bouncing up and down, Australia and so on. And they just don't tour the US anymore. And they do some one-offs here and there in Vegas and LA, future episodes. You know, I've gone to shows like that. Fucking amazing. But they don't tour the US. And when I saw that they were coming through Town Ballroom, they didn't have this big ass announcement. I saw it through, not a flyer like the old days, but I forget how I found it out, but I found it out and not many people knew about it. So to this day, when I mentioned Limp Bizkit came through Town Ballroom, they're like, what the hell? They last came through Town Ballroom in the year 1999 or 2000 with Eminem and Xzibit. Imagine that. Eminem, Xzibit, and Limp Bizkit together on the Anger Management Tour that came through Town Ballroom. And when I meet someone that's been to that show, it's like me meeting a celebrity. Like, fuck, you were there. So they came through Town Ballroom. And it wasn't the original lineup. It was the original lineup, excluding DJ Lethal. And who took his spot was DJ Franco. Limp Bizkit today in 2020, they have all their guys together. John Otto on drums, Wes Borland on guitar, Fred Durst of Limp Bizkit, lead singer, composer. Sam Rivers on bass. He had a back surgery, back problems back when. But their set, just from their set, Sam Rivers, he wiped off some sweat on this. I haven't held this since then. Got some white stuff on here. I don't know. And their set was. I remember early on they played 4 songs off of $3 Bill Y'all, off their first record, Counterfeit. I think they opened with. They played a little Sour. They played some Leech, Pollution. This episode I dedicate to you, Mark McGauley, man. You're my fellow Limp Bizkit fan. Zach Schifferle, dude. You're my new metal brother. You're getting married this weekend. This episode's for you too. So I was CJ Ulrich. He had a blue polo shirt on. He showed up to the show at. We got there back in May 2013. We got there in line. We were one of the first in line. Got in. And I told CJ just to rush up to the front because it's first come, first serve. Get your ass up to the front. I'll meet you up there. Go center. And I went over to the merch booth. I go over to the merch booth, and I'm seeing all the shirts and shit, which is so cool. The shirt I was going to wear, but I'm not wearing it right now or anything. West Borland. I got this shirt. And, damn, I remember walking around San Diego on the boardwalk with this on, and I had more than a few comments on this, just randomly, people loving the shirt. It's just really sweet. And I would later see Limp Bizkit with Korn, POD, Suicidal Tendencies, and House of Pain on a one-off at the LA Forum in 2015. That was one of my all-time favorite shows too, next to this one. And I wore this shirt, and Wes, he flicked a pick like this. Literally, he flicked a pick like, and it went up and then down right in front of me. And I couldn't catch it because I suck at catching guitar picks. Drumsticks, on the other hand, different story. So this is a fucking bitchin' shirt. Wes Borland, one of my all-time favorite guitarists. So I got this shirt at the merch booth as soon as I walked in there, And I was gonna take a look at the comments to make sure I don't fall too behind here. Okay, yeah. Good one, Luke, with Offspring, and then, yeah. So as you could tell, Wes Borland, that dude has a different dress up. I mean, every kind of show, every tour, he has a different costume, and he's got contacts on and everything. I'm gonna get to that. We're at minute 22 here. I could talk so long about Limp Bizkit, but I'm gonna try and trim this. And on the merch stand, I saw this. This one jumped out at me, and there was only, I think, 1 or 2 of them. This is a drum head. This is a Remo drum head. And Wes Borland is an artist. He's the guitarist of the band. He painted this the day of the show on a drum head. And Mark tells me that he's Mark McGauley, photographer in Western New York area. He's from Rome, New York. Awesome photography. Mark, I'm gonna post a link to your website and also Charlie Meister's. Great Western New York, upstate New York photographers. He painted this, and one of my most prized possessions, actually. I had the whole band sign it after the show. But the thing with this drum head, if you're lucky enough to get there in line in the merch stand and purchase this drum head, you win backstage passes after the show to hang out with the band. I bought this, and they tell me that, and I get to bring a guest, and I'm like, I get to hang out with Limp Bizkit after the set, Town Ballroom. I mean, come on, it's so cool. Word out to Kevin up top, Fred Durst signed all the guys, Wes, he had his little signature here, the year 2013. One of my most prized